Good afternoon, Kim. This is Kim
Hello.
Ford. For anyone that like, we're just having this conversation, weren't we, Kim, about how everyone always says everyone must know Kim Ford, and I think because we all know you, and we know how prolific you've been through the industry, we feel that everybody should know who you are, because you are kind of one of the matriarchs of the industry. And I don't know how well that sits with you, but I do feel that's kind of how people see you a little bit. So anyway, today we're here talking about Salonpreneur and about Kim's article, which is all supply
Yes.
chain management and its effects on your business. And
Yes.
you have got this already. It's quite a technical description of supply chain. And Kim's going to kind of talk and break it all down a little bit for us today, because supply chain is a massively important thing. That it does impact us on so many different levels. But first of all, Kim, can you just, if there are people that are unaware of who you are, because there will be people that don't know who you are, can you just give a quick rundown, because your bio is like epic. So can you give us a quick run round of what it is that you're currently doing?
Okay, so thanks for all the brilliant words. Oh my God. Yeah, I suppose I've been in the industry for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I suppose I've worked with all the awarding bodies in different things, Civitas, Desco, Gatehouse. Oh my God.
You were chair of
15
was
years.
it the chair of Babtac, Sibtac?
Babtac and Sibtac,
Yeah.
yes, I've done that. I sit on the cancer board. I'm a happier ambassador. So many different things that I do. And it's really about, for me, about aiding people to meet their career goals
Yeah.
and their actual personal goals.
Yeah.
But the important for me is that they know the correct knowledge.
Yeah.
They're not
Absolutely.
wasting money, they're not wasting time, and they're able to grow. And so I always want people to feel they can come up to me or drop me a WhatsApp or whatever and ask questions, and they do. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that,
Yeah.
because anything that can help them
I know, and I
really
think
be
that's the lovely
happy.
thing with you is that, like, and I think the first time I met you, well, was probably, I think it was at Pete Scott's event back in London. Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
And I think that was the first time I met you in person. Um, and I thought, oh, look, oh, there's Kim. Like, and do I and you? I thought I can't remember now. I think you might actually have come up to me and said hello. But I think
Yeah.
you're a great advocate for those, and you're probably one of the people that's inspired me about connecting and collaborating and networking,
Oh,
because what
yes.
you've done, and I've witnessed you doing always. And I think that you're always a welcome face at any event. It's like, if Kim's there, that if you don't know anyone else in the room, you can always go and talk to Kim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You're
Definitely.
like a welcome port.
I do love that. I
Yeah.
really do love
Yeah.
that. And it is important. I really think about networking because I think we don't stop learning.
No.
Whether it's somebody's just out of college or uni or whatever, we can really learn something new
Mm.
because as we know, the world is evolving so quickly.
So fast. So
Oh my God.
yeah.
We're like, okay, we need to learn this, we need to learn that, we need to
Yeah.
update our skills in this area. And with AI and everything coming on board, we've got to make sure
Yeah.
that we know exactly what we're doing with all
Yeah.
of this. So it's
Absolutely.
important.
And I think that segues quite well into your article, like in the supply chain stuff. Because one
Yes,
of the things that I love about the article is that you talk about product supply chain and how that impacts, but also about the human resources and how our teams
yes.
are also part of that supply chain. Because although we don't see them as that, our clients will do. And I
Yeah,
think that it's
exactly.
that, you've got to kind of see all of the different resources in your business and how they function to deliver to the client,
Absolutely.
and how
Because
that,
I
how
think
that impacts the client.
it does, because the reality of the supply chain and human resources is that you have a therapist who everybody loves, everybody wants to see, and you need to find out really what is it that that little USB that therapist has.
Mm,
Talk to them,
yeah.
look at what they do, and it could be something that you could actually share with all the rest of your team.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's looking at your supply chain
Yeah.
because then you're going to get other clients that come through the door and they love to be with that person.
Yeah,
So it's not just somebody who comes in and makes you money and etc. They are somebody which is crucial to your business.
yeah,
You can have a business and say, this is my business and I'm doing fine, but you haven't got a business if you haven't got the right staff.
yeah,
So you've got to make it a situation with your staff that they want to come into work every day.
yeah,
They love coming into work.
yeah,
They love the job that they're doing. They love that they are actually, making a difference to people's life.
yeah,
You've got to have that life and they've got to be positive about when they're talking about your business.
yeah.
So that's looking at them in a different way of part of your supply chain.
Yeah. And I think, the whole sort of, I mean, I used to work in the health service and I used to work in what was then called the personnel department. And as I kind of moved through the organization, I used to work for the director and then I ended up going to work somewhere else. And the person that took over his role when he left became the human resources director. And that was probably about 1990, about 1989, 1990, something like that, that changed. And that was the first time I'd ever heard this term human resources.
Ah,
Because but up until then, it was always personnel department. It was just like the staff, there was someone
yes,
staff. But that human resources thing, I think the whole key to looking at someone as a resource that happens to be human, rather than a product resource or a piece of equipment resource.
yes,
But looking at people as a resource for your business is really, really vital. And I love what you're saying there about, I used to, when I had my salon, I had many different people that worked for me over the years, but you always try, like one of the people that worked with me was the most amazing waxer. She could wax all day. She loved it. And then I had other people that didn't really like waxing so much, and they were still quite, one of them wouldn't do an eyebrow wax. She was terrified. Please don't book an eyebrow. Don't. Didn't matter how much more training we did with her after she left college and came to us, and we tried, and she had an inbuilt fear of doing an eyebrow wax and taking someone's eyebrow off. And so she could never deliver that service
yes.
well because she was so scared. And yet
Mm,
my other therapist was like, oh no, let me get that line. I'm going to go as close as I can. I'm going to, she'd be in there with the tweezers and pulling out the tiniest hairs and doing like a high definition brow when she wasn't really supposed to be because she was so passionate about it. So
absolutely.
recognizing those skill sets
Yes.
and pushing clients, because if you've got that person that hated the eyebrow wax, if I gave her 3 eyebrow wax clients back to back, she would be in a state of panic and
That's true.
not deliver. The client
Yes,
wouldn't want to come back because she would make an error because she's so scared. And I think sometimes you have to recognize the resources you've got. And if someone
absolutely.
is an amazing masseur, and
Yes,
obviously allowing for breaks for the hands and all the rest of it,
yes.
but we have to kind of utilize our teams, don't we, in the
We
right way?
do to the best. I
Yeah,
remember, I mean, I'd still, have clients, etc., more with aesthetics now. But when I worked in the salon, I absolutely hated doing manicures and pedicures.
yeah,
I do them if I have to. But I
yeah,
was very clear with the person who was leading the salon and said to them, don't give me those.
no,
Those are not my passion. And
no,
I don't want to do a substandard job.
yeah,
Want them to have the best for your business.
yeah,
And it worked great. She was happy with that because I was excelling in all the other areas of
yeah,
waxing and facials and,
yeah,
body massage and etc. And that's what we have to look at,
yeah,
supporting our staff when it
yeah.
comes to human resources.
And I do think sometimes there can be from a lot of business owners, there can be a thought that actually, no, you have to be an all-round,
No,
every person that works on that salon floor needs to be able to fulfill every service.
no.
I think, although to an element, I think to a degree, we should all have the knowledge of it. But
Yes,
we do excel. There are things that we love doing more. It's like I've been saying, like I was just saying with Philippa, who I was recording before, about the fact I still practice and I still do holistic. I'm still a holistic practitioner and I still do hypnotherapy
yes,
because I love
exactly.
doing it. And no
Yes.
matter how much I try and walk away from it, I still get pulled back to it. And it was something I was very passionate about when I started my education in this industry. And it's in my heart and I can't leave it.
That's it.
So, but I wouldn't want to go and work in a full service salon again
No, no. I
because
think
I
we've done
don't
our
I
days of
don't
that.
want to,
Yeah.
I still love doing facials and stuff, but I don't, it's not something that's in my world now. And I'm now, my knowledge is like things have moved on. So I haven't done a proper facial in 4 years. So my knowledge is old now. So
Yes.
I go and retrain and do all that stuff. But I
But
do,
I suppose what's happened with me is because I'm very much involved in qualification developments and things like that, I have had to keep up to
yeah,
date and
yeah,
constantly at this new training for that, new training for the other, new training,
yeah,
so that I have that knowledge to be able to help develop
yeah,
these qualifications.
yeah,
But also that gives me the skills of helping to support somebody who is going through whatever area they're going at this particular
yeah,
time. So I think that is such an important thing. But
yeah.
another thing I want to bring up, which I think people don't look at, and I think just looking at it, your business, using the SWOT analysis
Hmm.
is a great way to look at your, actually
Yeah,
supply chain because you're looking at the strengths. What are the strengths and the USBs that you've got
yeah,
above everybody else?
yeah,
What is your weaknesses? Is your opening times not quite right? If you've not got quite the right staff, have you got the right products in?
yeah,
Are those products moving off the shelf or are they get gathering dust?
yeah,
So all these things are supply chain things.
yeah,
You know, are there any better opportunities out there that you can, do something like a quick survey monkey with your clients and
yeah,
find out what they want to do,
yeah,
what they think is better, its opportunities, and then look at your threats. But remember, threats, I always say, is a good thing to look at because it makes you think about how you're then going to take the next step to keep being successful in the business that
yeah,
you're doing. And is a threat a threat? No, it's great. Because, and quite often I've worked, at salons who weren't doing the same thing as me. And we coordinate with each other.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. You don't. I don't think.
lovely.
I don't think. I mean, I where I used to have my salon based, we were. I was on the edge of Southeast London, and so we had huge numbers of salons around us, and some of them kept themselves to themselves, but there was quite a few. And us because I used to offer education, I used to
Mm,
have quite a lot of them come to me for education. So then they would learn. Actually, like I'm not there to threaten them. Like we all do things differently. We all, and like, going back to the resources in our supply chain, we all have different people in our teams. We all offer slightly different ways of doing things at slightly
exactly.
different prices for different people's pockets. And no salon is ever the same as the next salon down the road.
No,
But we know we used to help each other. If, one of them, Susie, she'd be, oh, my Lycon delivery is late. I haven't got any Lycon. But because we were Lycons, so we were both Lycon salons, we'd help each other out because we know the value
yes.
of having that wax in our salon. We knew how, our clients came to us because we had that wax in our salon. So we couldn't ever break that supply chain. And when our supply chain
Mm,
failed, oh, it was horrendous. But we'd always
that's
help
it.
each other out and go, okay, don't worry, I've got a gap this afternoon. I can run some wax over to you or whatever. And we'd help each other out.
That's
It
it.
isn't about being a threat, it's about actually growing a support system that when
Absolutely.
you have like-minded people, or you offer the same supplies, even when
It's
your
true.
supply chain does let you down, because it does happen, like DHL
Yes.
don't arrive on time, and you thought they were going to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning and they don't arrive until 6. You've got
Yes.
waxes in the afternoon. Yeah, you've got a problem.
That's it. You've got a
Yeah,
problem. That's
yeah.
absolutely. And I think also, you know, look at things such as I don't know, I mean, you can look at all these things, SWOT analysis and Porter's five forces. You can look at that up online. It's everywhere. But then you look at your competitive rivalry. And I think a good one of looking at that is look at we've got what people will know associated. We've got Nike, we've got Conserve, we've got all these things out there, different, Adidas, and they're all, you know,
They'll move
rival
all along.
against each other.
Yeah,
However, it works.
yeah,
It works.
yeah,
They all have their little bits of the market, and that works.
yeah.
So rivalry is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You just need to make sure that in your supply chain, you're aware of what your rivals are doing
Yeah.
and what can you do differently.
And this is it. And I was just going to say, and don't try and duplicate what they do.
No,
Because as soon as you start trying to be something you're not, then everything falls down. And I think,
exactly.
well, like using the SWOT system, I did. I don't know if you've come across Expert Empires ever, Nick
Hmm.
James, but I went on one of their training courses once about strategy planning, and he gave this wonderful piece of new, like an addition to SWOT, which
Yes.
is all SWOT. And it's achievements, learning, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities,
Exactly.
and threats. And that AL bit, I actually think it should
Yes.
be SWOT all, actually, and it should be
Yes.
the end. But that recognizing your achievements and what you've learned, and then
Yes.
feeding that back into that strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, because we've all been there, like, and even down, I was just saying with that other salon owner where, we realized actually we work together and help each other.
Mm.
Was a massive learning, a massive achievement, because it meant that when our supply chain failed, we had another supply chain ready to go that we could
That's it.
cover a kilo of wax.
Yes,
And it comes down to
exactly.
something so simple.
Well, that's your supplier power, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. One
that
of
is
us, one of us
supplier.
got our order in on the right day.
Yes, exactly. So which is another part of the Porter's forces is the supply power, which is
Yeah,
about that supporting, but also looking at the suppliers, and we know suppliers have a lot of power because they're the ones who products we're using and etc. But are you getting the best out of that?
yeah,
Are they giving you the best?
yeah.
Do you need to, sorry, do you
So,
need to go back to them
yeah,
and relook at what they're giving you
yeah,
for what is supplying from them? So
yeah.
look at that. Think
Because I
about,
do think as well, isn't it? Can they, if you buy more, can they give you a better price? Can they help you
yes,
with marketing? How can they help you? Because I think this is something that we forget in supply chain is,
exactly.
and I think that as business owners, you sometimes don't even realize that the suppliers do. Like for example, I offer Lava Shell massage. Shared Secrets, the business that does the supply for Lava Shell,
Yes,
have got the most amazing Dropbox full of every marketing image you can think of, full of
that's it.
descriptions, full of everything you're ever going to need to help you sell their service in your business.
That's it.
And and I think we sometimes miss that as business.
Exactly. Because anything like that you've got. Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't have to be hunting for images and things everywhere.
your
It
supplier.
saves time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's that 80/20 thing, isn't it?
yeah,
So you're absolutely spot on about looking at what power they have
yeah.
and how you need to tap into that
Yeah.
power. It's
Because
so important.
do they offer different opportunities, isn't it? I mean, like, some suppliers, I know when I used to teach for Llewellyn Bell, um, Llewellyn Bell used to have like years ago, they used to have like a little monthly magazine that used to come out, and
Yes.
they'd feature one of us as an educator, but they also used to feature salons. And that used to go out to the whole, to whoever was on their email list or whoever was on their postal list back in the day.
Mm,
Was an amazing thing to be part of, and a lot of suppliers do offer opportunities to kind of highlight some of their not necessarily even their favorite customers, but the ones that have been long serving
that's
clients
it.
of theirs.
And that's the buyer power.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is your buyer
Yeah.
power.
But if you end up in one of their newsletters or anything like that, then you can utilize
That's
that and put that
it.
on your socials. And
That's it.
it's that whole thing of like being visible.
Yeah.
There's so
But
much.
I think the whole article of what I'm saying to people is look at every single area of your business.
Yeah,
Break it down. See if it's actually bringing you a return on your investment.
yeah,
So when you decide, I'm going to bring in that new machine, okay, before you bring it in, how much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take to actually make it turn? How much is it going to time it's going to take you to retrain people?
yeah,
Are your actual buyers actually interested
yeah,
in that?
yeah,
And if you've got something which isn't actually doing that well, get rid of it.
yeah.
Bring something else in that's going to bring that
Yeah,
power, that
yeah,
zoom to your
yeah,
business.
absolutely. Well, we probably should leave it there, Kim, because yeah, we've been chatting for a while, and I hope we got lots of really interesting points that people maybe not even have thought about in how supply chain works. Because I think we do see it as like
Absolutely.
we see it as like ships and freight,
That's it.
don't we?
But
And
yeah,
actually, supply chain can be
micro,
how well your member of staff deals with that client,
absolutely.
and that just that the therapist to the client is a supply chain.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Every little thing
every little
is a supplier.
yeah,
Everything. Oh, that's brilliant to kind
yeah,
of open it up and let people think a little bit differently.
yeah,
And I think that is what the magazine is about.
yeah.
Opening up people to other areas that they don't consider.
Yeah.
And love you for that. Thank
I
you
know,
for the
and
opportunity.
I do think as well, though, Kim, is that so much of this is about just getting, whoever, all the people that write in a magazine get seen around in different places and at different events and writing in different magazines or different podcasts and stuff. And I think it's just nice to sort of like get behind what's written in the magazine a little bit and just sort of, yeah, open up the conversation and get people to see a different side of the people they see floating through the industry.
Absolutely.
But thanks so much.
Thank
And
you very much.